So there was a new wave of Pokemon in Pokemon Go, and of course people want to know just how good these new Pokemon are. Well, in this video, I'm going to be taking you through the new Pokemon here, and if you should be interested in them or not. And to help guide us along, I'm going to be following this article on Game Press, which highlights the new Pokemon and where you can find them. Also, along with the new wave of Pokemon, there is a trade evolution feature in the game now. In the main series games, these Pokemon, if you were to trade them, they would evolve upon trading. Well, in Pokemon Go, to emulate that a bit, when you trade these Pokemon, it just sets their evolution candy cost to 0. So if you want to have a cheap way to evolve these Pokemon, just trade them with a friend, and the candy cost will now be 0, which is pretty nice. So first on our list of new Pokemon is Rogenrolla and its final evolution form, Gigalith. Gigalith here is primarily a defensive Pokemon, pure rock type. It's got a pretty good move pool in the fact that it has Smackdown and Rock Slide, which is nice. Unfortunately, overall, doesn't really stand out as an attacker. Its attack set is too dang low to keep up with the other rock-type Pokemon. And then as a gym defender, pure rock-type means that you are vulnerable to fighting-type attacks and water-type attacks, grass-type attacks, ground-type attacks. Yeah, rock-type on its own is a very vulnerable type, so definitely not good for gym defense. On the PvP side of the force, once again, this mono-typing holds it back, where competing rock types have a steel subtyping, which allows them to resist more things in PvP. So overall, I wouldn't count Gigalith out for anything because it is a tanky Pokemon with a good moveset, but ultimately kind of falls flat across the board in Pokemon Go. So next up is Tympole, which evolves into Seismitoad. Now, Seismitoad can be pretty good for gym defense because it is a water ground type Pokemon, so it can resist steel type attacks coming from Metagross, and is generally pretty tanky to help you out against fighting type Pokemon, so definitely alright for gym defense. As far as PvP goes, it is just another Mudboy though. To compare stats, we got Seismitoad and Quagsire here, and you can see based on the stat products here, Quagsire is the more preferable Pokemon for Great League PvP. They got very similar movesets. The key difference on Seismitoad is that it has Earth Power, which has a lower energy cost than Earthquake. So for Seismitoad to overcome Quagsire, it would have to exist in a situation where you'd want to absolutely have the Sludge Bomb instead of Stone Edge, and where the Earth Power coming earlier can result in more KOs, opposed to the more powerful but higher energy cost Earthquake. I'd say for the Great League, the deck is pretty stacked against Seismitoad, but you definitely do want to keep one, in your back pocket in case things change, especially when you got Silph Leagues to consider. And then when it comes to the Ultra League, Seismitoad's not really all that down and out. It is the second best Mudboy in that meta. However, it does fall behind Swampert. So once again, the Earth Power coming earlier will have to be significant for it to be good, opposed to the more powerful Earthquake. But it could have a bit more swag in the Ultra League, where the other Mudboys don't compete with it so well. Next on our list is Dwebble, which evolves into Crustle. Now, Crustle is overall an unsuspecting Pokemon, right? But it is a bug rock-type Pokemon with access to Smackdown. So while it doesn't perform super well in the Open Great League, if you were to have a bug-type cup, a cup where bug types end up being pretty prevalent, Crustle is the #1 bug, being able to beat down all the other bugs with its rock-type moveset. So, once again, not an ace-in-the-hole Pokemon that you have to lose your mind over, but definitely something to keep in the back of your pocket in case a Silph Cup were to come up where Crustle is the bomb. Then next we have Trubbish, who evolves into one of my all-time favorite Pokemon, Garbodor. Overall, Garbodor's got a pretty rough end of the deal in terms of Pokemon Go. I mean, it's got overall pretty blasé stats, so the only place it really hopes to stand out is in PvP. And then as far as PvP is concerned, it has a pretty interesting moveset. It's got Body Slam, which is kind of like a ticket to maybe being passable in PvP. But unfortunately for it, the rest of its move pool is kind of as meh as its stat spread is. I could see Garbodor getting really good if it were to get some sort of moveset upgrade, but you could say the same for a lot of Pokemon in PvP. So fingers crossed that one of my faves gets a good moveset in the future, but right now Garbodor is not looking so hot. I mean, it's a giant pile of trash anyways, so it wasn't really looking too hot to begin with, but yeah. Alright, next we got Karrablast, which evolves into Escavalier. Now you might be thinking Escavalier looks like it's the evolution of Shelmet. Well, there is an interesting relationship between these two Pokemon. In the main series games, they evolve if you trade each other, right? If you trade Karrablast for Shelmet, that's when those two Pokemon evolve, because the way it goes is in trading, Karrablast steals Shelmet's armor, which allows it to become Escavalier, and then Shelmet without the armor becomes Exceligor. So if you want some trivia, there's the trivia. That's why Shelmet does not evolve into Escavalier, why Karrablast evolves into Escavalier. Now if you follow Great League PvP, Escavalier is pretty impressive. I mean, it has Fortress as typing, and it has the attack counter, which automatically makes most Pokemon good in PvP. Now, in the Open Great League, Escavalier isn't all that impressive, similar to Fortress, but in the context of the Fusion Cup, which is Silph Arena's current format for this month, it's actually really freaking good. Yeah, so if you look through it, you can see that it's countering all the Steel-type Pokemon, most of the Grass-type Pokemon, can even beat down the Hydro Cannon Empoleon, and it beats down on the Fairy-type Pokemon. So definitely going to be making some waves in the Fusion Cup. I was already going to be redoing my Fusion Cup content because of the introduction of Hydro Cannon and Empoleon, and well, now Escavalier is being added to the mix. So guess I'm kind of glad I didn't do the Empoleon thing sooner than later, because I'd have to redo it again, right? But if you are interested in how these two Pokemon influence the Fusion Cup, subscribe to SwagTips. I will have that video coming out soon. And Escavalier's swag does not stop at the Great League either. In the Ultra League, it can counter Registeel. Now that's all I really know about it in the Ultra League right now, but Registeel is one of the topmost threats in the Ultra League, so the fact that it can beat it, while it's not a fighting type Pokemon, it's a bug steel type Pokemon, that's actually pretty interesting. So maybe Escavalier will have some interesting swag in the Ultra League. I'd say it's too soon to tell right now, but once again, if you get one with a good stat spread for the Ultra League, it might be good to hold on to that. Then you got Joltik, who evolves into Garvantula. Both of these Pokemon really aren't doing anything too interesting across the meta, so once again, some new trophy Pokemon to get excited about. And then Shelmet evolving into Exceligor. Exceligor may look pretty cool. It's got that Uchiha Sasuke swag going on, but not really good across the board in Pokemon Go. And then here we got Venipede coming from 2K eggs. Reports indicate that it's also found in the wild, so I'll have to ping Game Press and have them add a little Venipede square here, since you can catch it in the wild. As far as Scolipede is concerned though, Scolipede is an interesting parallel to Beedrill. However, it doesn't really have any interesting, moveset or bulk changes compared to Beedrill, so it does reside in Beedrill's shadow. If it were to get some moveset updates to stand out from Beedrill, it could become good, but as it stands right now, not even Beedrill's all that big in the Great League meta, so Scolipede kind of has the deck stacked against it. Then we got these Pokemon found in 5K eggs, just got done talking about them, and then the next level of intrigue, the 10K egg Pokemon. Starting out with Timburr, who evolves into Conkeldurr. So if you don't recall, Conkeldurr was proffered to be the best fighting type Pokemon in the game, having the bread and butter counter dynamic punch moveset and better overall stats than Machamp. But then Lucario came out of nowhere, stole the show with Aura Sphere being the best fighting type attacker. That said, even with Lucario's dominance, Machamp was still as good, if not better than Lucario, given specific raids and circumstances. The steel subtyping on Lucario can hold it back sometimes. And Conkeldurr being just a better version of Machamp, well, that just goes to show that Conkeldurr definitely still has some swag in a world where Lucario already exists. So I'd say get hyped for Conkeldurr. Maybe power up one if you get it. Maybe if you get it in a lucky trade. But if you already have a Machamp army and you already have like a really good Lucario, definitely not a priority Pokemon, but a very powerful Pokemon nonetheless. Next up we got Tirtouga and Archen. Tirtouga evolves into Carracosta, Archen evolves into Archeops. So we're not really expecting a whole lot from Carracosta, so Water Rock Pokemon, not too useful on gym defense, not too useful in PvP. And then when it comes to Archeops, Archeops was proffered to potentially be the best flying type Pokemon in the game, but its moveset fell flat. Yeah, Niantic is holding it back. So Rampardos in the past was proffered to be the best rock type attacker with the best rock type moveset. Niantic gave that to it. As far as Archeops is concerned, Niantic was not so generous. It also has potential to be a very good rock type attacker too, but once again, did not get the swag moveset. So Could be a sleeping giant for now, maybe hold on to a really good one for the future. As it stands, it's just another dex entry. Then next up we got Axew, who evolves into Haxorus. So Haxorus is pretty interesting because it is a mono dragon type Pokemon, which we really haven't had yet in Pokemon Go, or at least in a big stat kind of way. So as a result, this Pokemon, being a big stat Pokemon and a mono dragon type Pokemon, can be pretty interesting for gym defense. Personally, I'm more partial to the dragon flying type Pokemon because they can resist the fighting type attacks, but for those of you that are wary of the double ice weakness that the other dragons have, well, Haxorus does not have that. And then as far as the moveset department goes, it has Dragon Tail and Dragon Claw, which is really good for gym defense. So, spammy moveset, deals a lot of damage. Now as far as raid content is concerned, Dragon Tail is a win, but Dragon Claw is a loss. Yeah, if you want to be a good dragon type Pokemon in Pokemon Go, you really need to have Dragon Tail with Outrage. But Haxorus right now does not have Outrage. In the future, we might get a move pool update, we might get a community day event going on where it gets Outrage, or maybe a new dragon type attack such as Dragon Rush, which could put it up in ranking. But for the time being, Dragon Tail, Dragon Claw, pretty good on gym defense. Then as far as PvP is concerned, its attack stat is way too high compared to its defense and HP for Haxorus to stand out in the Great League or in the Ultra League. Now in the Master League, it's not too shabby. It's ranked number 39 on PvPoke. Main reason why is because Counter is just a really good attack, and Dragon Claw, also a really good attack. And then it's got Night Slash and Earthquake and Surf for 3 different flavors of coverage move. So there's a lot going on for Haxorus in terms of the Master League. One thing I feel that really holds it back, however, is the fact that it takes losses to Dialga and Giratina Origin Form, which are 2 Pokemon you really do want to beat if you're going to be competing in the Master League. And then on top of that, it has shared weaknesses with that group as well. So overall, Haxorus does pull in some interesting wins, especially against Dark, Steel, and Normal type Pokemon. But because of the linked weaknesses and its inability to beat the best 2 Pokemon in the Master League, I feel like Haxorus is kind of held back. So possibly a sleeping giant. Maybe it's a bit better than what I'm giving it credit for, but right now I feel like Haxorus is definitely not an ace in the hole Pokemon for the Master League. Then after that we have the regional Pokemon. We have Sawk and Throh. So Throh you can get in North America, South America, and Africa. Sawk you can get in Europe, Asia, and Australia. And then for a limited period of time, I guess people were catching them in North America, so if you got it, cool. If you didn't, well. Overall, these guys have lost in the move pool department, so they don't really stand out anywhere in Pokemon Go. If they were to get Counter, could be interesting, but they didn't. So then we got Maractus, which can be found in the southern United States, Mexico, Central America, the Caribbean, and South America. Once again, a cute dex entry Pokemon, doesn't really have a lot of weight on the meta of Pokemon Go. Next up is Sigilyph. Sigilyph is a flying psychic type Pokemon found in Egypt and Greece. It's kind of interesting because it's based off of the, I'm going to butcher this, the Nazca lines, which are found in Peru. So why isn't it not regional to there? I don't know. At any rate, psychic flying type Pokemon, it can be interesting for gym defense because it walls fighting type attacks, but beyond that it doesn't do a whole lot in the meta or in PvP. And then finally, we have Basculin. Basculin is a fish. There's a red stripe one, there's a blue stripe one, and it's got the hemisphere split going on. So red fish, blue fish, neither of them are all that great in the game. But hey, more collectibles, right? And there you have it. The new Pokemon in the game, how good they are, where to find them. If you got any questions on this content, comment below, let me know what's up, and I'll be happy to help you out. And if you enjoyed this content, you want to see more like it, well, make sure to subscribe to SwagTips. SwagTips. At any rate, on to the Pokemon. So, Pokemon that are new, that are now available in the wild, include Rogenrolla.